All right, gang. We're back. Thanks for the break. Sorry about the break, but something that was very necessary. So, months ago, my next door neighbors had some electrical work done, not by electrician, but by the actual electric company. Because there were some, hey, Jason Smith, there were some issues with their flickering lights and shit like that. And ever since that happened, mine started going. So I made it out to the district office for Withlacoochee River Electric Cooperative, also known as my electric company, and said, yeah, this has been happening, blah, blah, blah. And they thought that because of the storms that we've been getting, because it's that time of year, no, I know about the surges. I know that's part of it. I'm talking about flickering to a point where my house looks like a dance club. Oh, well, that's not good. So, of course, they show up in the middle of today's show, or actually during the first hour. And I mean, I can't tell them to come back later. That's got to get done. And so it's done. I am going to have other work done because they've seen some issues that are need to be wrenched on. That is not their end. You know, it's my responsibility. So they gave me some names of some electricians they recommend. And off we go. Speaking of off we go, I got on the car plane rant. I guess I'll actually read to you the story of what I have so far, or maybe there's other news outlets carrying it. Like I said, I just got this morning. Wife on plane. Clearly somebody else has been looking at this. The Daily Beast, The Hill, the New York Post, the Washington Times, the Daily Mail. Ah, yes, the focus is no longer on my gay ass. Donald Trump spills Secret Service agents' crazy wife smuggling plan. And I think when they say crazy, I think they're referring to the plan, not the agent nor the wife, though. Yeah, it is a weird deal when I find myself agreeing with Donald Trump. It just really. Shout out to everybody on D Live, Rumble, Twitch, Facebook, and Twitter, or X, or whatever it's called this week. Also through one of my other accounts on Twitter Spaces. Shout out there as well. Yeah, that moment when your Secretary of Homeland Security greets officials from another country in camo spandex. Oh, Christy. Christy. Did you try to smuggle your husband on the plane? So, yeah, this is all over the place. I'm wondering. It's just, there's nothing else giving the actual name of the agent. Not that I care, but I will say this. It will tell me a little bit more about if I know who it is, or if I can learn any more about who it might be. Here is a clip of the old man, as we refer to them, talking about it. I presume this is on yeah. That's on board Air Force One. Let's take a listen to this.
There's a report that a Secret Service agent tried to get his wife on a support.
I just heard that. That's a weird deal.
Yeah.
He was going to leave the wife in the car. Wouldn't you think that might be a little dangerous? I don't know if that has proper compression. I don't know. That's a strange one. I just heard that 2 minutes ago. I think Sean's taking care of it.
Mr. President, you talked on Russia.
Is that a serious story?
I think it's not.
They're going to keep her in the car and she's going to be in a freighter?
Well, you tell me the details.
Those freighters don't have,
He was going to keep her in the car. Tell us how it was going to work.
So the freighter that he's talking about is the car plane. This is really crappy audio. The freighter that he's talking about is the car plane. And passengers tackle man threatening to bomb a plane. Good. Let's see what other. I mean, the Post, New York Post would, if they drop a name if they could. President Trump confirmed Tuesday that a Secret Service agent tried to sneak his wife onto a transport plane accompanying the president's Air Force One jet to Scotland last week. Okay, so we talked about this. It was not accompanying. It was out in front of, like, substantial amount of time. Like I said, I won't say exactly how long, but blah, 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 to Scotland last week. I don't know what video we got playing there. Oh, that's from the thing in Midtown. The latest misstep for the beleaguered protective agency. Wouldn't you think it might be a little dangerous? Trump asked reporters on his way back to Washington after 5 days on the other side of the Atlantic. That's a weird deal. Confirming that he was informed of the matter before expressing confidence that the agency director, Sean Curran, would take care of it. The incident was first reported by the Herald newspaper of Glasgow, which reported that the Dallas-based agent flew his wife to Maryland, where she received an official briefing and was bused to Joint Base Andrews. I just liked it more when it was Andrews Air Force Base. Now it's Joint Base because every branch has a presence. Anyway. The U.S. Secret Service is conducting a personnel investigation after an employee attempted to invite his spouse. No, he actually did invite his spouse. She attempted to get on board the cargo plane. A member of the United States Air Force aboard a mission support flight. Mission support flight meaning that the purpose of that plane is to support something else within the Secret Service, and that is protecting the president. That's from Anthony Guglielmi, the spokesperson for... I actually have his email. Several planes usually accompany Air Force One on presidential trips carrying Secret Service agents, equipment, and other support staff. Guglielmi's statement was, prior to overseas departure, the employee was advised by supervisors that such action was prohibited. Like, why do you think this is okay? I didn't know everything about the Secret Service and about what we did when I came on, and I knew a lot. But the Secret Service actually pays from one budget to another the Air Force for assisting with this mission. Now, it's all, you would think, in the Treasury Department, but it's still funds that have to be tracked where they go and who receives it. To include the Air Force, documenting how they receive money. In this case, from the Secret Service. It is advised by supervisors that such action was prohibited, and the spouse was subsequently prevented from taking the flight. No Secret Service protectees were aboard, and there was no impact on our overseas protective operation, except a foreign newspaper being the first one to break the story. That's probably not good. Federal and congressional investigators have lambasted the agency for failing to avert 2 assassination attempts against Trump during last year's presidential campaign. So that's not true. Okay, first of all, you all know my opinion about the first one. That's a whole separate episode. That'll probably be a series of episodes. But the second one was stopped. We can't prevent somebody from crawling into the bushes. The agent got out in front, confronted the would-be shooter, and he was later taken into custody. This is also, I don't believe, accurate. Thomas Matthew Crooks shot the 45th and 47th president in the right ear. If he was actually shot in the ear by a bullet, he would not have that ear. Let alone it would not be in the condition that it's in if he had any ear left. A scathing Senate probe of the security lapses found that the Secret Service denied at least 10 requests for additional resources, like anti-drone systems, and failed to secure the roof of the building from where the shooter opened fire. The main agent responsible for the breakdown of communications with local law enforcement also was never disciplined for not deeming Crooks a threat. Despite being warned about him moving around the Butler Farm showgrounds 25 minutes before he began shooting. Then Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle resigned. We know that. September 15th, Ryan Wesley Routh, 58, snuck onto the would-be 47th president's West Palm Beach, Florida golf course and holed up in a sniper's nest to take aim at Trump before being spotted and fired upon by a... Yeah, exactly. So it's not like they failed to thwart that. That was a very successful thwarting. Yeah, this is the bad part of that one. Routh fled after being targeted with 6 shots, but was not hit. That's probably bad. Yeah, acting director Ron Rowe took over for the embattled agency following Cheadle's departure, but was replaced by Sean Curran, a former member of the 47th President's personal security detail. He was the GS-15 supervisor of the entire former detail. You see him on stage in Butler. He is the short-haired guy with sunglasses who is standing behind the president and moving him off stage. Well, standing behind then former president, moving him off stage. Yeah, I'm not going to... This is basically a publicity message for Trump, as I would expect from the New York Post. It's not a real article. There's no actual information in it that is about the guy getting his wife on the plane. Let's see. Hill. In the Scotland Air Force, the aircraft operated by the U.S. Air Force was being used by Secret Service to transport the Secret Service prior to overseas departure, subsequently prevented from taking the flight. The agent flew his wife from Dallas to Maryland, where she received a full briefing from top agency officials about the 5-day working holiday, according to the Telegraph. The Telegraph also reported that she was granted access to the visitor lounge, that's the VIP area I told you about, at Joint Base Andrews. Trump returned from Scotland on Tuesday following a meeting with British Prime Minister Keir Starmer and opening of his new golf course outside Aberdeen. Nothing else about it. So it'll come out. And the reason why I would be looking for who it might be, because I can better predict what's going to happen. Is this going to be pushed under a carpet? Is it going to be dealt with perhaps publicly to, how should I say, regain public trust that we, still showing love for the Secret Service, are dealing with asinine situations? I mean, there's things in my career I screwed up. I would love to do again, but I don't live on them. It's over. It's done. The Secret Service went on just fine without me, as has every president since. So I got something on my lip. As has every president since. Here's the issue and why I want to actually follow this story. He was told no, according to the reports we've read so far. Prior to this happening, even if she was mid-flight, he could get back on the phone upon her wheels down in Maryland and say, babe, this ain't going to work. You got to catch another flight back. Sorry. I'd love for you to go and have a vacation with me in Scotland. But you can't do it. She would have to understand. She's an Air Force officer or enlisted person. I don't know her rank. I don't know her rank. But she's a government employee, bottom line. What do I say, Ken? What do I say? This ain't that hard. Get on another plane and go home. So what's she do? Goes into the Distinguished Visitors Lounge and receives a briefing that she's not entitled to. Wow. Here's the thing about classified information, gang. Just because you have a security clearance, just because there's been a background check done on you, there is still one very important factor with classified information. Regardless of how classified it is classified. Sensitive is sensitive. And if you do not need to know any of that information, you are not to be told any of that information. I've had I've had my family at various protectee sites. That is a perk of this job. Both my parents met former president and former Secretary of State and former First Lady and former New York Senator Bill and Hillary Clinton. I paid for them to get there. I paid for them to stay over. And it was done with the permission and the knowledge and actually the invitation of the Clintons. That was at an annual Christmas party that they throw for us every year. Mom, my late grandmother, and I think my one cousin also met Hillary at a site at an official event in Pennsylvania, close to where I grew up. Something else that's also commonly done when you're a part of an advance team or just a post-stander, it's another perk of the job. The bosses know and okay that to happen, as does the staff. And when I say the staff, I mean the protectees' staff. I've had boyfriends that met Bill and or Hillary. Again, all based on their actual invitation. There was one, God, you know what? I think it might have been, I forget who that was. There was one situation where a guy I was seeing at the time was invited through their manager, a senior staff member who I still know to this day, to meet with us at the airport upon Hillary going wheels up. Because I was the airport agent, I could have him waiting by the plane. This person gave the Secret Service the okay. They try to wait till the motorcade to shut it down because they just didn't like me. And Hillary stepped in and said no. Long story short, they still tried to jam me up for doing it. And I caught him in a lie. And I had the text messages with this manager to prove it. And when I caught him in the lie, I basically said, how would you like me to handle this? Because I know how I would like to handle it. And I said that directly to the special agent in charge of the Washington field office, my way up the chain boss. There would be 1, 2, 3, 4 levels of agents between him and me. He smiled, said, I'll make it go away. That would not have happened if I didn't have text messages. That would not have happened if I wasn't friends with the manager of the Clinton family. They will target you out if they just flat out don't like you. That's happened to me plenty of times. Also, to this day, still documented. I say that because not knowing who this person is from Dallas, I'm sure that there's somebody else in the Secret Service that's going to, as we say, step on their dick between now and the next couple of days, drawing the attention off of him and onto somebody else. That being said, this is the climate that's fostered. After being told no, this guy still thought it was okay. To get his wife, who's not a Secret Service employee, who's not part of the security plan by the Air Force, I'm presuming. I don't know that. But again, I've got to presume that she's also stationed in Dallas. Presuming. There's a lot of bi-coastal families out there, or multi-city families out there, because of professional responsibilities. I doubt that's the case. Nah. Yeah. But I get forced, and so many other agents who would not have done stupid shit like this get forced to lesser assignments because we're not somebody's buddy. Oh, yes. I want to, well, I still might have them, and I'm presuming we probably lost a lot of our Australian audience by this time. And it's unfortunate, it's understandable, and it couldn't be helped. I still want to try to report on, I think it was this one. Oh, where did she send that to me? Is it there? I don't know where. We got to start using just one method of communication. This is killing me. Oh, here it is. Okay. Katie from Dare Media sent me this information. This is crazy. As Sportcat has already reported, there were a bunch of earthquakes over the past couple of days. And where are you at? There you go. Let me try to reset this here. Oh, damn it. Wait a minute. There we go. Down here. Okay. So this is one right outside Perth, Australia. And I guess that would be the Indian Ocean. Not even in like what's called the Ring of Fire, the Pacific Ring, where there are many more earthquakes and volcanic activity and so on. So here's a story from Perth Today, Channel 9, Australia.
Breaking news from the wheat belt to Perth. West Aussies woke to rattling windows and swaying buildings in the middle of the night after an earthquake struck east of Perth. Let's go straight to our reporter Holly Edwards-Smith for more from South Perth. Holly, hundreds of people have reported feeling it.
Lara, this quake has been felt far and wide. There have already been more than 500 reports. It happened just after 2 o'clock this morning, a 4.8 magnitude quake hitting the wheatbelt town of Walcatchum. There have been reports it was felt as far east as Kalgoorlie, down south in Dwellingup, and hundreds of reports right across the metropolitan area, including here in South Perth. Now, this is not the first earthquake to hit the Walcatchum region in recent days, but it is the largest.
So a magnitude 4.8 earthquake is a relatively strong earthquake. So people in the epicentral area probably would have felt quite strong earthquake ground shaking. It is possible that there might have been some damage to buildings in the area. However, it is quite a remote area, so we wouldn't expect to see a large amount of damage resulting from this earthquake.
And Lara, that ground shaking was certainly felt right across Perth, people jumping online in the middle of the night to say that they were awoken by this earthquake, some of them hundreds of kilometres away.
Okay, Holly Edwards-Smith with that breaking news for us this morning. Thank you.
All right.
So simple.
Well, there you go.
And
Breaking news from...
So I missed it because I'm dealing with a bunch of other. Did we get what the Did they say what magnitude? There we go. 4.8. That's a baby. It's a hiccup.
it's
Not
so
even a real
simple that I
earthquake.
think
Oh, there she is. Oh yeah, I love when Madge puts her foot in her mouth. Let's see how Jamie Raskin shuts her up today.
so simple. And it's so simple that I think that we can all come together on it. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield back.
Mr. Raskin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. But one of the things that we heard from the gentlelady from Georgia was that the proper response to children being massacred in school would be more armed guards, and that the way to protect people is to have more armed guards. And several things came to mind. One was that in Buffalo, the shooter, Peyton Gendron, I think his name was confronted by an armed guard who shot him, but he was wearing body armor, and then was able to kill the guard and go on to massacre people in the grocery store. Ms. Green, do you think the Second Amendment protects body armor too, by the way?
Well, Mr. Raskin, here's what I do believe is I wish that people inside that grocery store had been armed, but the strict gun control where they live took that ability away from them.
I'll reclaim my time. So, Mr. Scott, your state has seen some terrible massacres, like at Virginia Tech.
For the record, he's still dealing with some cancer medications, I think. That's why he's choked up a lot. I don't have cancer, but I have allergies.
We saw the massacre at Uvalde where there were lots of police officers around with guns, but they weren't able to stop the madman who got inside with an AR-15, the 18-year-old who got inside with an AR-15 and assassinated those children such that their parents had to offer DNA to make a positive identification. Couldn't even identify them visually. What do you think about this argument that, well, what we need to do, what I understand her to be saying, is that basically everybody should be armed? Is that going to make us safer if we become the only country in the world where our solution to the problem of massacres in public places is to arm everybody?
The evidence I've seen is if you have armed guards in schools, you have no reduction in killings. You do have an increase in school to prison pipeline because the police officers there tend to police the children, not protect the children.
Boom. They do their job. Policing is reactive. Community policing is an effort to change that, but there's only so much a police department can do. And so she wants to add guns because she's from Georgia, and that's what we do down here. Oh, Madge. Look, I'm pro-Second Amendment. I'm very pro-Second Amendment. But I'm also pro-common sense. And we, the 2A folks, suck at policing ourselves. How are we going to police a bunch of rowdy kids in an elementary school? if we can't even police ourselves? That's where we need to do better. We need to support background checks because, after all, it is the political right, the fascist MAGA morons of this country, who have been using the line, if you got nothing to hide, you got nothing to be afraid of. They're okay using that line when they want to try to regulate pornography or abortion or liquor or freedom of movement. Yeah. J.D. Vance actually said out loud that you should have papers to leave one state and go into another. Just showing his ignorance in the fact that you already do. It's called a driver's license. But now, when we want to, be pro-life and prevent mentally ill, criminally insane, or criminally convicted people from owning guns that they're not going to use properly based on their own track record, libtards are the assholes. That's not how this works. So we have ourselves an asshat. Road Rage 1969. I don't know what that word is. Asshatch. Because people are effing stupid. Well, I mean, that I agree with. A lot of people are stupid. Marjorie Taylor Greene being one of them. Background checks infringe on the Second Amendment. No, they don't. No, they don't. To an extent, your Second Amendment rights are only a privilege if you've broken the law. That's the Second Amendment. A driver's license is unconstitutional. Okay. Now you're just being a tool. Because driving is a privilege. It's been legislated accordingly from day one. It's been decided affirmative by every court, from district justices in local small town communities all the way up to the Supreme Court. You do not have to drive to have a productive life. So a driver's license is not unconstitutional. Wrong. Supervan Ken says, J.D. Vance, I just can't today on a Wednesday. He need to have several seats. Gang, when you comment, tell me what you're saying. I don't know who needs to have several seats. And I also don't get some of the slang or the logo or the slogans that some people use. But J.D. Vance, yeah, I don't need him today. So dude's back with freedom of movement. WTF, dude. Freedom of movement is not infringed by not having a car. You can get a bus. You can get a bike. You can get an Uber. You don't have to have, there's logistically, like I have a minivan that's bought and paid for. And if something were to happen to it now, I would be screwed. Yes. But I can still make other legal arrangements to get to the grocery store and back. If I violate my license to drive by driving under the influence, or worse yet, while intoxicated, it's my own fault. I need to research hardcore. Dude, this is my degree. You need to watch this show more often. And I'll tell you how to do the actual research without following some libertarian principle or some MAGA moron principle or some woke libtard principle. I'll teach you this little thing that you clearly don't have called common sense. Oh, you're some anarchist now? Legality is a mindfuck? Said the guy whose logo or profile pic is what looks like the Joker. Well, guess what, dude? I'm Batman. And I'm the vengeful Batman, not the clear-headed one. Oh, look who's here. Hey, dude. I didn't see you back there.
I've been hiding for a while.
You're early today. Could you hear me while you were back there?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
You
Yeah.
damn libtard.
Yeah, I know. I keep drinking those mimosas and
Well, you got. Do you hold your pinky out when you drink it?
only when I have to shake my dick, but you know.
Oh, okay.
Enlarged prostate. I don't need all 5 fingers anymore anyway.
We don't have to have a Pizzagate over that, huh?
Yeah. So I don't know if you were listening earlier either, but I was in I don't know what it was, but today my anxiety was just eating me.
I had that 2 days ago. Yeah.
It was a normal morning. I got up. I made some coffee. I had some glass of water first. All the stuff. But I just couldn't just chill out. I couldn't sit still.
I have those days.
And so I get on the air. I'm ranting about it, for whatever. And I'm saying, I'm going to need you guys to call in today and kind of talk me down off a ledge. Not remotely going to be hurting myself or anything, but let's just talk today, for God's sake. And then I get to doing the story that you had to go and fucking give me.
Sorry.
That this asshat from Dallas, who, after being told not to, flies his wife to Maryland to sneak her on board a car plane. Like, what the hell?
Yeah. No means no, dude.
And I was the one that wasn't assigned to the president's detail? Wow.
Yeah, well. Some people are just idiots. What the hell did I do with that article? There we go. Yeah, some people are just idiots.
Wow. And she thought it was a good idea, too.
Yeah.
Like, do you know what you're getting into? Do you know why we're really going to Scotland? I was just thinking about that the other day, too. The number of places I've been in the world, in the country and in the world, even where I've been stationed long term. Philadelphia, the birthplace of our country. San Francisco, Washington, D.C., Los Angeles. And the number of touristy things I did not do while I lived in those 4 cities and could have and should have.
It's because...
And this guy wants to take his wife for a week in Scotland?
Yeah. It's because we had lives. When I was on med flights, we weren't allowed to do that shit either. So, I mean, if you had your 8 hours downtime, you didn't have to hang by the plane. But if you had your 8 hours, then you had to, sit at the airport if they didn't have a duty for you, which sucked.
So, for when I did do some vacation like things overseas. I went whitewater rafting in snake infested waters in Indonesia, Bali, Indonesia. They didn't tell us they were snake infested until after we got out, which was awesome.
That's funny.
It was, I don't know if you remember the Bali nightclub bombing.
Vaguely, but not.
This is the one. So Bali is to Australia what like the U.S. Virgin Islands or the United States. It's a huge vacation, short flight from Australia, a huge vacation destination for Aussies. And so this nightclub had a lot of Australian rugby players in it. I know because I met one of the guys that survived it. And the Al-Qaeda sends a homicide bomber inside the nightclub, which detonates, scares the bejesus out of a bunch of people who all run outside to a waiting car bomb. And as sick as it sounds, it was ingeniously planned.
Oh, yeah.
But now we also know to teach not to go running outside should you survive an interior.
What year was that?
So I don't know exactly, but I know that I was there on this trip and at that nightclub, the remains of it, on the 1 year anniversary.
Okay. Because
it was during Bush, because that's who the protectee was.
yeah, okay, that'd be about right. Because that's about the time they started teaching us not to go rushing right in, and yeah. So,
and I'll tell you what else it was. It was between 2004 and 2007, because I was in, and I'm sorry, 2003, 2007, because I was in the San Francisco field office at the time.
Yeah, well, I don't know. We were actually being taught. Trying to think back. I guess it would have been the early 90s about how we were targets. So that might have been before. Yeah, that was before that. So yeah. But yeah, well, and then when I joined the hazmat team, I learned the finer inside stuff, which sucked. But yeah.
Yeah, sure. So yeah, I get a rant on that, and then I get a knock at the door, and it's the electric company. They need to shut it down.
It was the FBI.
No, not yet. That's
today.
coming, I'm sure.
Oh well, yeah, because I'm pissing people off apparently. So.
Oh, what are you up to? What do you got going on?
Oh well, people are just people. I have had some comments range that now that I'm I don't even know the right word to use, but basically they think that I'm nuts, that I'm part of the problem when I'm out here screaming.
You see what's on the screen right now?
No, hold on. Actually, I changed screens. Let me pull it up. Does this
Road
guy?
Rage 1969 says I must lick a lot of fucking windows. That's what it is, dude.
Dude, is it the window licking that gets you? I didn't know that was it. So,
well, I guess if you don't wipe the Windex off first, possibly.
I'll tell Road Rage to come over and find me on the YouTubes, and he can hear the other side of the story where I'm nuts just on the other side of the. I'm not 100% on the other side of the aisle, but I'm closer to the other side.
I saw you. You were being pretty libtarded out the other day.
About which one?
I don't remember.
I mean, I have my moments. I go both ways. Well, in something.
Yeah, really. That was me back in the old days.
I had to qualify that with you.
Yeah, that was me back in the old days. Now I'd just be lucky to go one way.
No, I went on a racial rant yesterday about the Cincinnati thing, and now the police chief of Cincinnati is a freaking moron. We have a group of young black thugs beating two older white people down. Now, I'm not elderly, maybe our age, but older than them.
Yeah.
And she says that it's not a race issue. Even the blacks are calling it a race issue. And she says that social media people like me are making her job harder. No, you've cut the police force, you promote DEI, and let's add on top of it, you're a fucking idiot for not being able to see that that's a black on white crime and call it what it is. So
Yes.
sorry, I do it now. My blood pressure's up. So
Yeah.
but I mean, come on, they can't. The CNN calls the clearly black guy entering the the building in New York. They call clearly a black guy white. And then they say, oh, well, we couldn't tell. It's pretty obvious. I'll show the picture. Then they claim that the people that were beat down, they couldn't claim that they were white. It's like, come on, people.
So I agree with part of the one thing the other day. And that is when she said, what did she actually say? Like probably white or possibly white?
I think she said
like
possibly. And
yeah,
but she never corrected herself after they had it up on screen. She said it again. That was the problem.
So yeah, that doesn't sound good. And that was my whole thing. Could CNN have done differently? Yes.
Well, sure. We all could.
And what I think people too often don't realize or forget is that just because something can be done differently doesn't mean that what was done is wrong.
Correct. No, I don't. Just if she gave information that she had at the time,
yeah,
great. That's beautiful because that's what we go on.
Right.
But when it's on your screen, you now have pictures, and you have some expert on a little screen beside you, and you keep repeating it, even though your expert's like, no, the picture. Okay, come on. I think we need to get past this whole black and white thing. That's what I think. I think the media just needs to get off this whole black and white thing because they're doing nothing but further divide our country.
Yeah.
And they want a race war. That's what they want. So the media wants a race war so that they have something to report. It pisses me off. But
well, see, that's the thing I've been saying and why I still say they need to listen to me more often. I've been saying that we've been in a civil war.
We have.
It might not be North versus South or blue versus gray or even predominantly militarily orchestrated.
No.
But you can't get on social media today. You can't go from a conservative community to a progressive community and not notice the difference and not say that this is really stirring up people's emotions on a daily basis.
No, it's what they try and do.
That it's intentionally being driven by both sides.
Mm-hmm.
That's a war. It's 2025. We don't line up shoulder to shoulder with the same gun on each side and just point at each other anymore and take turns shooting at each other like they did 300 years ago.
Yeah, no, we don't do that.
Things are done differently now.
And shots are fired in social media. Yeah, I mean, I agree. All right, man, I got to get into a show or it's going to screw up my studio. So, tell everybody they need to come over and follow me. I'll probably get on another rant and get some more people to at me, but I don't care. I'm
Sportcats Daily Gazette is up next. You can stay right here on Yerg's Radio, Rainbow Radio, and the whole gamut. By the way, I'm cutting that right now. You can pick it up.
All right. Daddy is taking control. Daddy has the radio. Let's see. I am green all the way down. All right. So we are good to go. Daddy has the radio. Yeah. Just come. You can either continue listening right here or you can come over and find me on YouTube. Just search out the Sportcat shows. Join our chat. It's already going. And I'm sure I'm going to say something stupid today and get into a rage because there's plenty of things for me to talk about. So
have at it, brother.
All right, brother. I will talk to you tomorrow. Oh, and then I got to tell you, next week I will be back in Tennessee. So I'll be back at my other studio. So we'll talk about it later. But all right, man. I will catch you soon.
Good show.
All right. Thanks, man.
All right.
For everybody listening,
Sportcats Daily Gazette is up next on Yerg's Radio and the Mastiff Media Network, as well as the Dare Media Network. My socials are going to get shut down because it's only live for my show. You can follow him on video by going to YouTube and searching the Sportcat shows or Para or Normal Guys with a Z, 4 words. Search that out. Have a look. Sportcats Daily Gazette is up next. I will see you tomorrow, hopefully for 2 full hours of electric. Till then, thanks for getting off the porch and running with the big dogs. See you tomorrow. There it is.